BC Racers was developed by Core Design and released on the Sega 32X in 1995. It is a mascot kart racing game similar to Mario Kart, featuring characters from the Chuck Rock series of platforming games. You know this game is going to be awful when you first start it up. There is no title screen. I can't remember the last time I played a game missing a title screen. Instead, you are left with just a simple menu. If the developers weren't able to complete the title screen, imagine what else is not finished. From the menu screen, you can select one of 4 difficulty levels. The higher the difficulty, the more complicated the courses are. The easy courses have reasonable layouts and give you an opportunity to get used to the game's mechanics and the controls. Unfortunately, both the game mechanics and the controls are not finished either. Like in Road Rash, you can punch your enemies. However, you can only punch to the right. If an enemy is on your left, well, get out of the way before they punch you. The actual driving is simply awful. Your bike enjoys going sideways, but doesn't actually like going around a turn. Many times I would drift through a turn, and despite appearing like I was going to successfully navigate the turn, I would continue drifting right into some roadside obstacles. Completing a lap will earn you a turbo, which is represented by a blue orb in the HUD. However, I use this in emergency situations only, as going faster with controls this bad is a sick game of Russian roulette. I'm not sure if the video footage can really capture how bad the steering is in BC Racers, but it is some of the worst I've ever experienced in a driving game. Perhaps it has something to do with the frame rate. BC Racers is choppy as hell, to put it nicely. Again, had the developers actually finished the game, they could have optimized it to actually run on the Sega 32X hardware. The frame rate ranges from slideshow to poor, and everywhere in between. The jungle level in particular chugs along. If they would have just removed some of the crap at the edges of the track, they probably could have coaxed a few more frames per second out of it. Speaking of crap at the edge of the track, be prepared to get stuck in it. If you're lucky, you'll ricochet off it. Most of the time, you'll simply get stuck in it and promptly fall to last place. If you haven't noticed yet, you do have a life bar in BC Racers. That dinosaur at the bottom of the screen represents your health. As you hit things or get clobbered by opponents, it will slowly turn into a skeleton. Once it goes full skeleton, you lose. There is some generic meat at the start-finish line that will replenish some of your health. It makes a terrific sound when you drive through it. It's like nothing in BC Racers is finished. Even the music feels unfinished, as if half the instruments are missing. The game offers pretty much no fun at all. Completing the Easy Championship offers no bonus, no extra cars, no hidden tracks, no extra modes, nothing. All you get is a congratulations message. Thanks. You spend most of the time just hoping you make it through the turns without getting stuck, but then there are ramps you have to hit. With the bad controls, this is difficult. If you miss the ramp, you'll either slow down, or worse, a pterodactyl will come rescue you and put you back on the course. But because this is BC Racers, there is one spot in the game where if you miss the ramp, the pterodactyl will pick you up, the screen will rotate 180 degrees, then fly you backwards, rotate back 180 degrees, before finally placing you on the track. Needless to say, I was in total disbelief the first time this happened. Besides the poor frame rate, the graphics are generally very pixelated and unappealing. Other than the sprite scaling, this game looks like it could have been done on the Genesis or Super Nintendo without much issue. As an example of what a next-gen Mode 7 kart racer should look like, here is Atari karts on the Jaguar. It's night and day. I think BC Racers could have been a fun game had the developers finished it before releasing it. The foundation is here for a fun little game. The characters are interesting enough, with some play on pop culture. The 8 different environments all feel vastly different and offer some nice variety. The music feels like it may have been moving in a positive direction. Unfortunately, the game wasn't finished. BC Racers is a wreck. The game lacks any sort of polish and simply isn't any fun to play. Bad game is bad, 1 out of 5.